Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Cast Revive. I'm your host, Matt Heimerl, and welcome to your weekly Top 5 VGM podcast. With me, as always, is the man I strive to be one day, Steve Monselce.
Hello, hello.
And this episode is going to be fantastic because we have our first guest ever.
Woohoo!
And he is going to explain some really awesome things. A good friend of ours, Mr. Brandon Specht.
Hi.
Clap, clap, clap.
How you
clap,
doing?
Clap, clap,
Hi.
clap,
Very
clap.
good. Thank you guys for having me. I'm a day one listener. First day you guys released your first podcast, I listened to it.
Thank you.
And I thought I was going to listen to it while I was falling asleep, but I ended up listening to the whole thing and then immediately responding on a post. Like
I thought you were going to say day one listener, just definitely not day two or the rest after that. All right, we got that day one spike.
I'm usually, I think it's fair to say I'm usually one of the first people to respond to some of the things. Yeah. Sometimes calling people out. Sometimes I'm just kind of excited. I mean, there was a podcast not too long ago where you guys did your boss fights, and I just went into it thinking,
that was a fun one.
I was like, King DDD better be in there. That's all I thought, and it, like, immediately gratifying. Like, I'm like, there it is. All right, I can pretty much stop listening, but I still listen to the whole thing.
I appreciate it. I see, and that's kind of what we want people to be like, this wasn't on there. Oh, yes, these guys actually had my song on there.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
just like, and that's the kind of reaction that we want to get from people. So that's why we encourage all the time, if we make mistakes or something that you don't want, or just yell at me and say my list is complete garbage and here's why yours is better. I'd love to have a conversation about it.
That and called Steve out for not beating Mega Man 3, 4,
Look,
5,
I
and
took
6.
your challenge. I will play
Good.
3 through 6.
Good. I feel like these guys owe me because when I first met them, they forced me to play through the original Castlevania, and
Forced is a strong word.
Forced as in like it had to become at some point. It became less of a labor of love and more of just like an obsession.
More like coerced.
I'm just like, I mean, there were literally points that I was alone in Matt's house just playing this game.
I'd come home and be like, why are you sitting there in your boxers? You're like, don't ask it. Don't ask questions.
I mean,
It's 2 a.m, man.
I
Go
think
home.
I think it's fair to say, like, just even the final boss fight against Dracula, I spent hours.
But you know what's funny, Matt, is that Brandon went ahead and did that. I believe it was on the Wii.
It was on the Wii. Yes.
Do you remember when you didn't have saves and you had to go through?
That's true. But now,
oh wait, you had to go fight that fight again? Oh, you have to start all over.
It's brutal.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I might be wrong with this because I don't really remember. It's been a while since I actually played it. But Castlevania, though, was kind of nice because you didn't have to restart the whole game. Is that correct? You just go back to the beginning of the level and then
If you died?
If you died.
Yes, you went back to the beginning of the level.
So, I mean, it was, in that sense, it was a little bit more forgiving than most retro games where it's like, you lost. Whole game start over. Like
Back to the beginning.
Like a Back to the Future type game or something like that where it's just like.
But Castlevania also came out before they came out with all the batteries that they can install in games.
Yeah.
So there was like, okay, now we can kind of come up with the password features and all kinds of save states, and it was nice.
I don't regret it. I just, for future reference, when you do make this challenge to people, start them out with Super Castlevania 4.
Yeah,
because
agreed.
I feel like that would be more of like the beginners, and then go on to the original Castlevania.
Super Castlevania for the SNES was definitely the easiest of the Castlevanias, and the hardest ones was probably Bloodlines for the Genesis.
Yeah.
Yes, and you found that.
I snagged it from Matt a
cheap.
found it for 50 cents, and like I was when I tell this story to people, Matt doesn't usually purchase Genesis games out of box because why would you? I mean, the box has lasted. It's not like a Nintendo game where they came in a cardboard box. These are but it tends to be a harder game to find. And I saw it for 50 cents at like a Goodwill, and I called Matt up, and I was like, I said to my wife, I think Matt's going to want this. She's like, it's not in box. I'm like, I feel like this game's actually worth something. It's the one Genesis game amidst like all the like sports games and all that stuff. And I was like, hey, Matt, you want this? And he's like, and then I can hear him clicking in the background, checking eBay.
Yes, I do.
Yep. Go ahead and pick that up. I can retire. Thank you.
he's like, that's a good 10-4. Yeah, go ahead and purchase that. Although there was another time when I had that. Remember the Tekken fighting stick? I was like, hey man, I found a Tekken fighting stick for $8, and he's like, I just can't justify it right now. And I'm like, well, I certainly don't need it, but I'm going to buy it anyway.
Yeah, so. and I kick myself in the rear every time I see him. I was like, why did I not buy it?
It's so stupid too because I don't play fight. Like we're going to talk about fighting games today. I love fighting games. I'm not terribly good at fighting games. I'm probably one of the worst at playing fighting games. I just love the style of them. But yeah, like so I'm sitting there. I use a Tekken fighting stick to play like old school classic, like 1942 and stuff like that. But it's cool because it's kind of arcade like, you know.
Right,
No,
right.
So it still gives me that nostalgia factor.
So you got to buzz out some burger time with the fight stick.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Ooh.
That's right.
There.
That's right. But it's just kind of funny because you think, here, this one guy, here's this guy sitting in his living room with this legit Tekken fighting stick, and he's just like, "Ooh, I'm going to play 1942."
Next time you go to a tournament, you got to bring that out because usually when you see someone, it's like, "Uh-oh, this dude's got his own stick," and you're just like,
Nope.
Wait a minute, he didn't get one hit. What's going on?"
Nope, he sucks.
I just want to be cool, guys. That's what it fit in.
$8, Goodwill.
Oh, before we get started on our list, we hear you have some pretty interesting projects going on in your life.
You know, I always say when I'm around you guys, you know, I really got my start with, I mean, I played video games for years, and that's how we kind of met. We all kind of like the same video games, but you guys really encouraged me to kind of delve back into it. I'm more of a comic book guy, for sure. But I definitely, after meeting you guys, delved back into video games quite a bit, especially the retro video games, because I mean, I'm of the Nintendo, Super Nintendo era.
That's what we all love.
Yeah, I mean those eras, specifically Super Nintendo is the era I love. But I've had some really cool opportunities since then. Since getting really back into video games, I work with the indie community locally to cover a lot of their stuff. Mm-hmm. They got a really cool, the global game jams coming up, and that's where a whole bunch of indie developers get together and they just crank out some video games in one weekend, which is really just a cool thing. And that happens all around the world, the entire globe. So it's a whole global event, which is really cool. And you know, so I've worked with them and that type of thing. But other than that, the arcade pinball scene, I've worked with Free Play Florida, and I do a lot of events over at the BART, which is on Mills in Orlando. I do a lot of stuff with them, and good friends with the Pinball Lounge, and I do a lot of stuff with them as well. So these are all really cool venues. So I do a lot of stuff with them on that stuff. But they're all kind of coming out and supporting us in one of our latest ventures, which is Ignition Inc. 2016.
Nice.
It's the biggest events that we've done so far, and I'm going to be doing the whole arcade area. We're going to have a lot of great games. For example, you know, Street Fighter 4, Marvel vs. Capcom 3,
Nice.
Super Smash, Wii, U, and then Mario Kart 8. So we're going to have a lot of fun. Bunch of pinball, bunch of arcade cabinets coming out as well. You guys are going to be out there doing some Mario Maker stuff.
Yes, we are.
Raising some money for cancer.
That's right.
So, well, not for cancer.
Not for the American Cancer
Yeah.
Society.
For against.
Really, it's against cancer.
Yeah, we're definitely against it. That's for sure.
yeah. But no, I've been real lucky. I've been able to meet a lot of people and met some legends like Billy Mitchell. Worked with him a couple times now. Todd Rogers, which is a friend of Matt's as well. He's a great guy.
Robotron, man. Introduce
Robotron.
me to Robotron. That's one of my faves now.
One of the weirdest, and Gorf. He was a big Gorf fan as well. And then Walter Day, who's a friend of mine now, and he's if you don't know who Walter Day is, he's the main. He keeps track of all the Guinness Book records for video games. He's from Twin Galaxies. Yeah, and he as well. If you don't know him, I guess to give you a little pop culture reference, there was a character named Mr. Litwick who was based off of him from Wreck-It Ralph. So, but one of the cool things was he gave me and some of my people an award for building one of the largest arcade cabinets. It is the largest arcade cabinet, and I wasn't sure if I gave Matt a card, but I brought two of them because I thought both of you would want a trading card.
Yay!
So this one's for Steve.
Yay!
And so
I think
we all got trading cards. Well, there's a second one for you, buddy.
Dude, one super mint and one I can just keep in my pocket.
And you know what's awesome about
Rub
this
it
card?
against my thighs.
The arcade cabinet they built was for Bubble Bobble.
Yes.
That is awesome.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and you know what? When it appeared at Free Play Florida, you know what they changed it to?
No.
Joust.
Nice.
Ooh.
So I mean,
Nice.
you can't go wrong. But
Ooh.
Bubble Bobble holds a good place in all of our hearts. I mean, it's a great. A lot of the stuff I do is very community related. So. And Bubble Bobble is a great collaborative game.
Yes.
It really is. So, but yeah, no,
And very hard.
I think that's one of the things. Like I had mentioned before, you know, I'd worked with these two guys on a project very early on, and you know, I've always been big on community. So working with other people, collaborating with other people, and that's why it's cool to be on this podcast tonight. The other thing I was going to say is we got a cool art show coming up at BART, coming up starting either next week or the week after. It's all going to be Street Fighter art because we got Street Fighter 5 coming out soon.
Yep.
So I'm excited about that. Again, assuming I'm not going to be any good at all, but I just like seeing that stuff.
How long do the art shows typically last at BART?
About a month. About a month and a half. It just depends when the next person in line is going to have all his or her artwork done.
Is it just one artist, or is it a showcase?
No, it's going to be multiple artists. We got my buddy, Famous After Death, who's going to be working on some stuff. A lot of traditional art for this one. We're looking for less digital, more painting, illustrations, that type of thing.
Nice.
But the other cool thing is Chris, who owns the bar, Chris Brown, he actually owns a Street Fighter 2 cabinet, so we're going to have that out there, and we can do some tournaments with that stuff.
Very cool.
But one of our good buddies, MJ, who is the guy who created the one and the only Goonies pinball machine, the only one in its existence. He actually also owns a Street Fighter pinball machine.
Nice.
So they already have it in there. It's beautiful. I mean, it's not one that was extremely popular when it comes to pinball, but if you're a gamer...
Oh, it's great. It fits the theme, and pinball is it's just so much fun just to pick up and play.
But it just comes down to, and it's just another one of those awesome opportunities. And I always say this about Orlando in general, Central Florida. It is the geek mecca of I think the world, because we have the theme parks. And we certainly are not at a lack of theme park. We're not at a lack of entertainment as a whole. No. But then you have the indie development scene, the retro, the chiptune. You have all these amazing things that are associated with geek or nerd culture down here, and it's just a great place to be. And so the community's great. It's a great place to.
It's because, everybody is in a sense just starting out, so it's a very open and welcoming community. Yeah. It's not like. Not like you're walking into EA, they just give you the finger and just walk out. You go to Indianapolis and stuff like that, and everybody's they're taking questions. Right. They're very embraced. They're willing to share what they know. And then you have those game dev meetups as well that are at the BART, right, where they just get together to share ideas and it's a very welcoming community.
And just this weekend, we're recording this, and then all while we're recording this, all these people are over at the Orlando Science Center right now doing Otronicon, which is a lot of game dev stuff, as well as our buddies from the BART are out there serving drinks, and it's just a cool place to be. It makes it very easy because I can set up an event like Ignition Inc. and I can say, hey, Cast Revive guys, do you want to do something there? And it's really easy. And I was just telling these guys before, I'm working right now with a local gaming store that just opened up, and I just said, hey, do you want to be a part of this event? And they've already come out and said, yeah, sure, we'll bring you some consoles that you can give out for prizes. It's ridiculous.
That's awesome.
There's so many opportunities, and people are it's so easy for people to get involved. And we have Hourglass Brewery that's doing our after party, and we're going to have Mario Kart there as well. And it's just a ridiculously cool place. And I always thank you guys, because I think I kind of that whole process started for me from working with you two on our original project. And
your gaming / community life has evolved to the next level, but you're not at the mega evolve stage? Question mark? Is that what is there a next level? And
hashtag
I don't know Pokemon, so I'm really trying my hardest.
Hashtag Pokemon 20th anniversary. Good. Now we can add that hashtag to tag to the
another tag to the podcast.
Another tag on the podcast.
They're talking about Pokemon. Sweet.
Yeah, for about 3 seconds, and he butchered it, but
it's okay. I have one job to do, and I do it quite well.
Yeah,
and it's messed things up. So, as you mentioned earlier, for the Street Fighter Art Show, that's what this episode is going to be about. It's going to be Street Fighter games and some spin-off games. And I noticed your list, you have 2 kind of spin-off games on here. So it's very interesting to see.
I should point out they still have Street Fighter in the title.
So there you go. Oh no, hey, it absolutely works, and that's what we like.
Or fighter, at least. Yeah. At least fighter.
And so yeah, we're going to start off with we're just going to do your top 5 today. Steve and I are not going to do one. I know everybody's probably like, oh man, they're not going to do it because those guys are just so awesome. Said, don't worry.
I hear it all the time.
I know, so do I.
All the time.
I said, a cop pulled me the other day. He's like, wait, are you Cast Revive, right? He's like, what's your top 5 like cop songs. I was like, well, just from GTA. I mean, just pick a song from those. That's what it is.
City Connection.
Yeah. Yeah. See that? See that?
I like that.
Moving and shaking,
Mappy-
baby.
Mappy
Moving and
Land.
shaking.
Or the time, or when the music ends on Urban Champions because a cop car's going by. The music just stops for a second. Woo, woo, woo. The guy standing on the side.
That's like,
If you don't know, play Urban Champions, because the thing is, this is my feeling. Since we're talking about Street Fighters and fighting games, there would be no fighting games if there wasn't Urban Champion.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, and
Beating up somebody, waiting for somebody to throw some flower pots down on you.
That's right. And if you haven't played it and you got a 3DS, they have it in 3D now. You can buy the 3D version of it.
So you can watch you knock the guy down into the manhole in 3D.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Great classic game.
Well, we'll have to bust it after this. We'll do an top 5 urban
Champions.
Champions.
There's
one
one
track.
one single track.
Yes. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started here. Here is Brandon's number 5. What do we got here, Brandon?
I mean, I hope the fans of the Street Fighter franchise still kind of recognize it.
Oh, absolutely.
This is the Ryu theme, but this is the Ryu theme from Super Puzzle Fighter 2.
Puzzle games, my favorite.
Now, Brandon, just in case we have listeners out there that don't know what this game is, can you describe it for us?
Yeah, so if you're familiar with either like Tetris or Dr. Mario, this was kind of like that. This was Capcom's version where you pit the Street Fighter characters against each other. It really focused more on the versus, the competitive parts that you found in, like, you remember like Tetris, if you played in the 2-player mode, the more blocks you got rid of at the same time, the more
showed up on your
enemy screen. And likewise with Dr. Mario, if you were to do like a double kill or triple kill, it's going to then cause more blocks to fall down on the other side. So this is kind of a similar thing. The only difference is when you're getting rid of your blocks and when you're doing stuff, it's actually causing your character to create combos and do stuff. And you're actually
nice.
It's almost like you're doing a fighting game behind the
strategically.
Strategically behind the shroud of a puzzle game.
That's super cool.
Well, what I think is cool is, I'm listening to Ryu's theme here, and even though it's not Street Fighter, it's, Puzzle Fighter, you can still hear the elements of Street Fighter. Like, I could still hear the breaking board from when somebody throws somebody through on that stage. That
no, absolutely.
And I think Capcom games in general kind of still, they all kind of have. There's a Capcom sound, I think,
absolutely,
that you'll hear in a lot of different games, and they're very catchy. They're very catchy and they're fun.
Yep.
So that's one of the elements I think that brings me to Capcom games. It's definitely my favorite video game company, and I think I'm drawn to it because it's just music.
Electric pop.
Yeah, no,
there you go.
It's very. I mean, it almost reminds me a little bit of that K-pop that's so popular now, the J-pop and all that stuff. I mean, they have a lot of fun. And I'm not somebody, by the way, just to say something about me, I'm not somebody who likes cover bands at all. I hate cover bands, but I love video game remixes, and you're going to see that a lot of my mix today, my top 5 today. So this one in particular is a remix of the Ryu theme, and it's a great track.
Speaking of pop, the word pop, I'm looking at that Ryu drawing from Puzzle Fighter, and it looks like it could be one of those pop, like they could do a pop line of those characters.
Yeah, no, they definitely, in that particular game, they definitely went more for what they call like the chibi look. They were going for the cute versions of the characters. They have much larger heads and eyes than they should normally have. But yeah, no, they're it's a very
he might be cute, but he can still rain down.
Yeah, and pain.
He's got that serious look in his face with those massive eyebrows.
And one of the other cool things about that game is that they bring in the they bring in another popular franchise, the Darkstalker franchise, into the mix, which is another great Capcom fighting game. If you haven't played Darkstalkers, it's the same type of feel as Street Fighters. It deals with stereotypes of monsters rather than stereotypes of nationalities.
And for those who aren't, it's true.
It's so true.
And for those who aren't familiar, there's a very popular Darkstalkers character that made her way into a lot of Capcom games, and that's Morgan.
Yeah,
Morgan.
She's in the Street Fighter or the Marvel vs. Capcom games. Everywhere.
Yeah, no, she's a great character. I'd say she's definitely the most popular character. The female characters tend to be really popular on those titles, and I think they're most of the characters that made it onto this game from Darkstalkers were female characters. They're just great design for characters.
We don't need any more men. Let's get some ladies in here.
Well, then those characters look good. I mean, you know, that's everybody stops. We're just like, our
well, not in that aspect of hey, they look good. No, they're just the way they're drawn. They're actually.
I was doing it because my wife might be listening to this. I'm gonna be quite honest.
Aren't we all?
I'm gonna be quite honest on that one.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah, but no, great track. I out of all the themes, I thought that one was a fun one to start.
No, absolutely. I forgot to mention before we started that our actual opening track was Ken's theme from Smooth McGroove.
Right.
He does a lot of acapella tracks. So I'll put the link for his stuff in the description. But if you like acapella, and even if you don't, check out this stuff because the Contra Jungle theme, that thing's on point.
Plus, it's the Ken theme.
Yeah. Plus, it's Ken theme, best theme out there.
Yeah, it's a good theme.
Best theme out there.
Agreed.
Okay, fair enough.
I hope that's your number one.
Well, I might be in a little trouble. I might not be asked back.
number 1 through 5, Ken's theme.
Ken's theme, just from different games.
Well, I'll tell you what. I can't say that that's going to be true, but I think you'll like this next theme.
All right, number 4. This song can get you pumped up, man.
Yeah.
This song could open up my workout.
One of the best themes for a character for one of the least likable characters.
We got to give this guy something. Let's give him an awesome song.
Yeah. So this is the Balrog theme, but specifically this was from Street Fighter 4, and I'm not going to, well, I should say, spoiler alert, there is going to be more than one track from Street Fighter 4 on this list because they did a phenomenal job of remixing a lot of the original tracks from Street Fighter 2. Bringing them back and just making them really, really just awesome themes. And this is just a classic example. This is a great track.
You know, we've actually talked about this track in particular before, and since that time, I've actually listened to it about 6 or 7 times. Because I'm like, this is all. So I'm at work. I got my phone going, and I'm listening to this, and it's like, yeah, this is awesome.
It's got a real cool dance club feel. It's got a little when it gets the some of the audio really reminds me of like Daft Punk or something like that.
Absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely.
It's just a great track. And like I said, Balrog, if you don't know Balrog, he's not the most lovable character in the world. Matter of fact, he doesn't really have any loyalty to either the good guys or the bad guys. He seems to work on the bad side, but he's really in it for himself.
Right.
And then just a hard character to master.
Yeah. But if you can, one of the most powerful characters.
Devastating. Absolutely devastating.
Yeah.
No kick moves at all, I don't think. I mean, I think he's all punches.
He's
a boxer.
He's got knees and stuff that he can do, but when he jumps. But yeah, I mean, if you can master his technique, boxing characters are so much fun to play.
Well, they've actually started to bring that whole genre into different fighting games. They have Balrog, and they've always had Balrog for Street Fighter.
Yeah.
But then when Tekken came along, they never had a true boxer until they had Steve Fox.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
that's
Steve
cool.
Fox is a true boxer, and just like Balrog, he has no kick moves, no nothing. Everything is just, your kicks are low punches and jabs, and the way you can get combos going. He could be nasty. He will light you up before you've had a chance.
Because he has a lot of the juke moves. He'll literally bend himself on like a 90-degree angle
just
backwards,
parry.
and then just like upper. Like you can, it's the stuff you can do with him is amazing.
Yeah. I'm a sucker for. Again, not good at fighting games, but when I do play Super Smash, I'll play as Little Mac, and I was very pleased that Little Mac made it into the game. But he's almost a little bit of he's a good beginner character. He really is. For someone like myself who's not very good,
right.
He moves fast.
You don't sell yourself short. Your Luigi is pretty solid.
Your
Luigi
I was a little
solid.
bit better on the Wii. He changed a bit. Remember, like on the Wii,
he did. Yes,
Luigi had that move where he could kind of put everyone to sleep. Who knows why? But he just did. And then
because he's
and then you
boring.
can knock him out of the
face.
Then you can knock him on the stage. Now he has some different moves, a different Final Smash now. But yeah, no. Now I play Little Mac quite a bit, and again, it's all punches, and then you just hope to dear God that you don't get launched off the side because there's no coming back for Little Mac because his jumping is awful.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't have much of a save off board, right? Like
no.
He needs to get back to training with Lewis?
With Doc Lewis,
with Lucius Fox.
With Lucius Fox. Oh my gosh!
See what I did there?
You came up with another black character. I don't know, a Batman character, but also a very cool character.
Yeah, because he's cool.
Because I guess in a
Matt
way,
is looking around for approval. He's like, somebody agree with me, please.
I'm waiting for the Pokemon reference to come in here.
Don't worry, I have another one.
Okay, good. But yeah, no, it's funny that I'm so drawn to that track, and he's again not one of my favorite characters at all. He's probably one of my least favorite characters.
Well, I mean, like Matt said, that is a very energetic.
Yeah.
And it fits because he's a boxer.
Yeah.
So he's always training and working out.
Oh, it sounds like it could work in like a modern day Rocky or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And that's probably what they were going for, and they succeeded big time.
Yeah. It's cool because like my favorite character in the game is Ken, so I naturally just have to pick like the Ken theme. I really do.
No,
love
the Ken
that
theme's
best.
awesome.
But it's nice that like other people like they're not like a character you'd never play, but that their music is some of your tops. It just says a lot that you're not just like biased. Like, okay, this is my character, that's the music, screw everything else. Like, no, this character I would never play, but his music is awesome. So that just says a lot about
Matt plays Ken so often, even his random character select goes right to Ken every time.
Face, yes, Ken, America.
Wow.
It's true. It's true. I've never lost as Ken ever in my life.
That's because he hasn't played me.
Wow.
That's because you just play the computer on easy every time. Well, still true.
It's
still
actually
haven't lost.
Maya.
It's actually because Matt's only ever played me. And I just sit there and watch all the flashy lights. I'm like, ooh.
Side note, I've
shiny.
also never lost to Steve in Killer Instinct, right? Right?
Oh, wow. I can say for a fact I know that's not true. I've never seen anyone beat Steve in Killer Instinct.
Yeah, we won't go down that. Steve is the reigning champion.
That is my only claim to fame.
I throw
it out there every time I can.
Well,
on your resumes, everything else, number one is Killer Instinct champion. Like, you're hired.
You're hired.
We got to move on
right,
number 3.
That's what he rates for experience.
Yeah.
Years of experience. Killer Instinct.
Yeah. Hey, man, it works.
Yeah.
It works, especially
for it.
Especially Chief Thunder, like you mastered Chief Thunder.
Oh yeah, I love Chief Thunder.
Whoa,
Chief Thunder and Maya were my characters. Speaking of another boxer character, TJ Combo.
TJ Combo.
Yep. TJ Combo.
How about him? How about that TJ Combo?
TJ Combo, the new Killer Instinct that they released. He is brutal.
So what I'm getting at for fighting games is that it's pretty standard practice to have both a boxer and a Native American character. you gotta. It's like the checklist, the boxes you have to fill. Let's see here. The indie developers come in and they're like, "Yeah, I'm looking to do a fighting game. Okay, so what is the name of your boxer? Okay, that's good. And what is the name of your Native American character?" And they're like, "Oh, I really didn't. Nope, sorry." See you later.
Gotta have Native American.
It's Chief Thunder.
Yeah, I mean, there's always one.
Go with it.
Yeah, just go with it.
So the next one on my list is going to be a little bit unexpected. I hope that the fans out there are not going to ridicule me, but I don't even care.
To get to you, they got to get through us.
He's one of my favorite characters.
This track's pretty solid. Drop it on us.
So while I know there's a lot of haters out there for Street Fighter Cross Tekken, I should say.
Thank you.
Yes, there's a lot of haters out there for that particular title, but I know that there's not one person in the world who can say they hate Mega Man.
No.
So I went a little cheap with this one. I went for the Mega Man theme for Street Fighter Cross Tekken because Mega Man made it in the game.
There you go.
And I'm gonna issue a challenge to everybody listening. If they can tell me what track and what game that Mega Man song was from.
Do I count as a listener?
No.
Oh, come on.
You're
I know
fired.
this. Oh.
So I'll have some kind of prize. First person to claim it, and their first person to guess it on the Facebook page underneath this episode. I'll give them some kind of prize.
Well, I tell you what,
I haven't determined what it is yet.
If someone gets it this week, I'll give them tickets to Ignition.
There you go.
There you go. There's the prize.
That's the prize right there.
You can
First person to get it right.
I'll give you 2 tickets to Ignition. You can come in for free.
There you go. See that? Booyah. Making deals.
You know, this is Mega Man. It's fantastic. But, that's one thing that you guys both know me. I'm not a guy for graphics and stuff like that.
Right.
That doesn't make it for me in a game,
Well, they're not a real gamer, bro.
Hey. Shut your mouth. What it does do, though, is that these new platforms that come out, the sound quality and the things that they can do, they can have full symphonic everything.
Yeah.
Anything they can imagine, you can actually do now. And, all these dance type themes and the intricacy of the music is amazing.
You can see this is my 3rd track, and again, I picked another remix. I mean, this is a remix of the Mega Man theme.
Right.
And for those of you who don't know, all-time favorite video game character is Mega Man. I mean, I just love Mega Man.
Right.
It's one of the few games I can say, while I'm not the best Mega Man player in the world, while I might not be making like speed records or any of that stuff, I have gotten through every single Mega Man of the original games besides 8, which is the one that's for the PlayStation.
Is that the one that has Clown Man?
It might be. I have to go back.
In a world where there's Clown
It might be.
Mega Man 8.
It might be. I should say that I really haven't beat that one.
To the goog.
I got pretty far. I got pretty far, but that one's it's different. It's different on the PlayStation. It felt different. It was different.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
What would you say is your favorite Mega Man game out of all of them that you've played?
So, are you saying out of the original, Mega Man?
No, out of all of them, including the X series.
Shoot. I will say, objectively, the X series is probably the best series, but I personally am always drawn to the original Mega Man series, and I'm going to go back to the original Nintendo, and I'm actually going to go for, people will tell you too, I'm going to go for 4. I just always I always love 4. I believe 4 was the one with,
Skullman?
Skullman.
Pharaoh Man.
Was that the one with the title? And it may have been 5. It's either 4 or 5, but the one that had Toadman, Skullman, Pharaoh Man.
I believe that was 4. I'm almost positive that was 4.
Feel free to correct me at home. It's either 4 or 5.
One of those are my favorite.
First person to correct Brandon, if he's wrong, he get to kick him in the shins.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Advocate.
either way, they're great titles, and I love the original ones. Those are the ones that hold because I grew up with those ones.
What did you think of the Mega Man Legends series?
I love Mega Man Legends. I wish Mega Man Legend 3 had happened. They talked about doing that, and it didn't end up happening. But I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm a first-hand player on that one. I collaborated with some people to kind of, and I spent a lot of time watching them play. But I played those. I played the Adventures of Tron Bon, and which is a very different game. Which they all are very different from the Mega Man series. But I would say that's where it kind of lies for me. It's the original Mega Man titles, the Mega Man X, and the Mega Man Legends are the ones that I enjoy.
There's actually so many Mega Man titles out there that people don't even remember.
Yeah,
like
Battle Network,
Battle Network,
yeah.
Command Missions. I mean, there's like 10 of them I have that you're like, what? That happened? There's isn't there like a Mega Man racer? That's like a go-kart.
So the Mega Man, the Mega Man kart game actually came out with the oddly enough, it came out with the Mega Man X collection for the PlayStation 2. So you can actually you have to earn it by beating some of the Mega Man X games, but you can actually play it, and
nice.
It's.
I'm not sure if you know they're going to drop some knowledge on you.
Okay.
Did you know, since we're doing a Street Fighter episode, that if you collect all the power-ups in Mega Man X, that you get to use the Hadouken?
Yes.
That's true.
That is true.
Yes, so
you actually get on the armadillo characters. You get the
And here's another
Armor and Armadillo.
yeah, and it kills anything like in one hit.
Yeah, one hit kill.
Yeah.
That's a requirement for the speed run, like to get through.
Oh, really?
wow.
That's
yeah,
cool.
because that's the fastest way to get through everything.
Yeah.
After that, everybody you kill is one hit.
I will say this X series is another one I've gone through. Like I got the collection, I went through them, and
Nice.
I did get all the power ups and all that stuff.
That's last ball. That's all with Sigma and the Mavericks and stuff like
Yeah,
that,
Yes.
right?
yeah. They're great games. Like I said, they probably, if you were to be objective, they probably are better than the original Mega Man games.
Mega Man X is near. It's not my favorite,
Especially
but
the first one.
It is close. Mega Man X is amazing.
It's a pretty
Amazing
flawless game. The
Yeah,
original one
it really is.
specifically. I would say one of the other things, laying some knowledge on the people here. That,
Give it to me.
So yes, Mega Man X, or Mega Man does appear on Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and it's actually based on the bad box art from the
That's
original
right.
Yes,
one.
it is.
The overweight white dude with
Yeah, and which is weird because it wasn't a Japanese thing, and yet it was developed in Japan that they created this character just because they have such a. I think they must just find it really humorous that the American box art was so freaking bad for the original Mega Man.
It made no sense.
So they
Like,
really
it
have fun
made no
with it,
sense.
and they really have fun with it in the game. They have it like he's an overweight guy who's got his boss Roll telling him he's got to get some treasure or something like that, and it like has nothing to do with the original Mega Man. They really had fun with it.
And what's really funny, and it's unfortunate, is the original Mega Man sales did not do nearly as well as they thought because people judged the game by its cover.
Right.
Yeah.
That was one of the worst covers, out there
Yeah.
at the time. And that game itself is amazing, but nobody knew it because nobody
is
went and
amazing.
played it.
Yeah.
2 blows it away.
Yeah, yes, it
Two's
does.
a far better.
Yeah,
far better
it does.
game,
But when it came out, there was nothing like it.
yeah,
You
it
know,
was definitely the template. It was
Right.
the template for the games to come, and
My actual personal favorite Mega Man thing was in the new Smash Brothers for the handheld when you do his ultimate move and
Yeah.
it brings in different Mega Mans from across the different games
Yeah.
that he's been in.
Yes.
like versions. I'm like, that's awesome to see them all on the screen at the same time. That's awesome.
The Dr. Wily stage is
yes.
is so much fun.
for Capcom fans, how cool is it that we have Ryu and Mega Man both on a Smash game at this
Yeah.
point? I mean, it's insane. It's
Smash
literally
game,
insane.
and even the Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah.
When you
Oh, yeah,
do
yeah.
Mega Man's ultimate move and the huge ship comes out, the robot comes out, and just
Yeah.
blasts everything.
And Marvel vs. Capcom's actually had multiple Mega Man characters. I mean, Mega Man Roll. It's had, I believe, Zero from
Yep.
Mega Man X. I mean,
what's cool too is that Capcom versus Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is the only game out there that really kind of pays any tribute to Mega Man Soccer because they give him the soccer ball
soccer ball,
in it,
soccer
and
ball.
it does
Yeah.
different abilities.
a game that I own that I believe Steve does not own.
One of the few games that I
I
don't
wouldn't mind
actually
getting my
own.
hands on that.
It's really bad, but
It is really bad, but it's really
bad.
expensive for a really bad
but
game.
it's fun. It's fun just for what it is. I mean, the fact that Mario gets away with playing a lot of sports, but the fact that he actually tried to get Mega Man in there somewhere is just it's humorous.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they're trying new things, and some of it works, some of it doesn't.
Yeah. So
We've
that was,
talked about it many times.
Yes. yes.
so this was me co-opting the Street Fighter episode for a little bit and getting my chance to talk a little bit about Mega Man.
It was awesome. It was awesome. We're gonna move on to number 2 now,
All right, fans should be happy with this
which
one.
I think people will be squeezing their butt cheeks tightly in anticipation.
Squeezing their butt cheeks tenaciously.
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 I'll allow it.
Okay, I just want to start out by saying that picture is so horrible of this character. He looks like he's on like a Hugo Boss cologne advertisement.
It does.
Yeah.
Look at him though. He's
If you're
just
looking,
like, hey, ladies.
if you're looking up Guile theme, look for the one with the really, really bad art. Interesting fact about this song: This was actually the first song that I heard when I met Marcy, my wife Marcy, on college campus when we first looked at each other back in 1982.
Street Fighter.
No, that's a total lie. That's a total lie. I was 2 years old at that point. No, it's such a cheesy song. I like to put it into that kind of 80s, early 90s time frame. You can definitely tell when they were doing this, they were stereotyping it was like an American stereotype of like that Top Gun feel. Like,
yeah.
it was just
absolutely.
It's so over the top, and you just imagine like the guys leaning against the jet fighter in the background with the girls raising their arm. It's such a cheesy board, and that's why I picked this one above the Ken theme. Because Ken theme is a solid theme. I was back and forth, Ken theme, Guile theme. In the end, I left Ken theme for Matt because I know he loves it, and I went for the Guile theme just so that we had a chance to play both in the episode.
Absolutely, no, it's good. And this is actually the arcade version as well. So it's got a little.
Do they even make that plane anymore?
I don't even know. yeah. And we should also mention not the remix. So this is me actually showing love to one of the original songs. But it is such a good classic song, and I think for a lot of people when they talk about Street Fighter music, it is kind of a toss up between this or the Ken theme.
Yeah,
I got a question for you guys, and I don't really know this answer, and so I'm kind of asking. And go ahead and call me dumb for not knowing.
Is this a question about Jean-Claude Van Damme?
It may or may not be. No, it's not a surprise. No, in the Street Fighter series, when you threw opponents through, like, we're looking at Guile's stage right now, when you threw them through the crates and stuff, did it actually do damage or was it just for effect?
I believe it was just for effect.
Yeah, I don't remember losing.
Because I can't remember if you did.
But it
or
was
not.
just wicked cool. I think that was like
one of the early.
There was a time when that was like state of the art.
Yeah, the early era of stage interaction.
You should be able to throw them through it and then like pick up a piece of it and
start
beating
them.
Yeah, with a nail.
Yeah, well, that was one of the cool things about. It's actually one of the reasons why I admire Vega as a character, because he had the claw that he would sometimes drop and then you know he could pick it back up, and that was like another one of those weird things. It was just like, this is a very weird thing for this character, that you could actually have a weapon that you could drop and then pick back up. It reminded me a lot of like Captain America's shield when the Marvel vs. Capcom games came out, which I should mention, also great Capcom fighting games. I'm totally in love with the Marvel series.
They did a really good job.
I wish I had bought more of them, even though they're kind of, again, me and Steve were talking earlier about rehashes in games. I mean, Capcom fighting games in general. I mean, there was Marvel, there was X-Men, there was which is X-Men Children of the Atom, which I don't own. I wish I did. And then there was X-Men versus Street Fighter, and then there's Marvel versus Street Fighter, and then there's Marvel versus Capcom, and there's Marvel versus Capcom 2, Marvel versus Capcom 3, and
Ultimate, and then it just
Ultimate,
keeps on and on.
So I mean, when you talk about rehashes, I mean it's part of the gaming vernacular is that people want to play the same types of games. But I'm such a sucker for it because I love the Marvel series, and again, Captain America was a cool character because he could drop his shield and then you could pick it back up. And...
Now, do you think you'd be as inspired to run out and grab? Say they did a new Marvel vs. Capcom and they kept the exact same characters in it, and say they just tweaked stages or things like that. Would that is that what your draw is to it, or is it character selection? So
I would say character selection is what makes us all suckers. Like, really, I don't mean it in a mean way. It's just like, they're like, oh, check out these new characters, especially with Marvel vs. Capcom, because that's what sells it. It's like, who did they add this time? And that's the same thing with, like, Smash Bros. It's like, who did they add? Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, like, when they busted out the new Tekken Tag, the second one, like, I was just like, look at this list. Like, the more characters for me, the better. Don't cut anybody out. Let's just keep adding new people. I don't need you to cut out certain people. I enjoyed playing some of these. I like more variety.
Mortal Kombat was good with that. You know, they had a couple, then they add more, and then like they would do the whole next, like, you know, Mortal Kombat 6, and it would have everybody from Mortal Kombat's past. You know, then they'll do the next one where they only do a couple, and then everybody again. Yeah. You know, so I love that.
And the new Mortal Kombat, they just added 3 new characters. They added Alien from Aliens. They added Borachio, and they added Triborg, which is Sector and Cyrax combined, and then another one.
They did Leatherface, didn't they?
Leatherface. Yeah. Who did I say?
I don't know. You said Alien something, and then
Alien, Bo Ratio, and
they're smart to keep. They keep to a lot of the
Leatherface was added though. Yes.
Yeah, they seem to have a lot of the horror characters, which lend themselves very well. Yeah. Whereas like with like the Capcom series, I mean, even with Street Fighter Cross Tekken, they added as you said Mega Man, but they added Pac-Man as well. So those of you think
I forgot about Pac-Man. That's awesome.
And what's awesome is Pac-Man plays like Tron Bonne does.
Yeah, because he's in like a big
big thing. Mech type machine.
Yeah, for all those you who gave us Retro Gamers crap that Pac-Man showed up in the Smash series, it's not his first rodeo. He's been in other fight games.
Pac-Man had some good games. Pac-Man World 1 and 2 were actually pretty solid games. They were actually fun games.
And other than that, he's Pac-Man. So just people out there who don't want to see Pac-Man show up and stuff, shut your mouths because you shouldn't be playing video games.
You just got told.
Agreed.
I mean, not only that, I mean, he was cool in the Smash series too because they gave him the original Pie Eyes too, so they made him feel kind of retro, and that was one of the.
He's a fun character to play. I really enjoy playing.
He's a great
character.
Series. Absolutely.
He's got some real annoying moves. But it's just
no, he's great.
His stage is brutal.
Yeah,
you get those power pills, and now you're invincible. And
yeah, and he's got a couple stages too. He has one for Pac-Land as well that was added for the Wii U.
Nice.
Where Pac-Land was I believe it was a Nintendo game. And it wasn't
Super NES.
Was it Super NES?
Pac-Man 2, The Adventures of Pac-Land.
But it wasn't like a tremendously good game. But it's a crazy board because it's one of those continuous boards where it just keeps moving. But let's save that conversation for a Namco episode.
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, there you go. I like it.
See what I just did there?
Are you ready for your number one?
I'm so ready for my number one.
What do you think people are going to think about?
I think people are going to be shocked. I think they're going to be annoyed. But then when they sit down and actually listen and re-listen to the track, they'll realize that I was right all along.
All right, well, hold on. I'm not ready. Wait. I'm ready.
Here we go. Speaking of J-pop.
Yeah, no, exactly. This is the Sakura theme from Street Fighter 4.
You could even just by listening to it, you can tell it's a female stage. Just by the way the music sounds, at least to me.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree.
She's a fun character, though. Very fun.
She is. I wouldn't say she's. Well, there are some people. She's obviously someone's go-to character, but she's not like like when people immediately think of Street Fighter, they're not.
Right.
Her,
she's a girl. What? Who?
Wait,
but sometimes it's these lesser named people that actually end up being the strongest and the go to in like tournament scenes.
Yeah, and I think a lot of Ryu fans like her because she's like she's a lot like him, but just a little clunkier. She's She's not as
fluid.
Yeah, she's for those of you who don't know the character, she's a huge fan of Ryu, and she's trying to emulate his fighting style and wants to train under him, so that's kind of her deal. So, but she's a very fun character, and just in my opinion, obviously the most fun track out of all the Street Fighter titles. It's just, and again, Street Fighter 4. I mean, if you're somebody who's training for a fighting tournament, or you just want to jog, or you want to do, Street Fighter 4 has some very, very motivational tracks.
Right.
This particular track's like, we were joking about this before, and I feel like it sounds like you're in the club, and then someone all of a sudden the orchestra from Chrono Cross comes in, starts playing part of the song, and then all of a sudden some guy jumps in on piano, and it's just like it just breaks it down into different segments of just awesome music that just carries you out through this whole song, and I love it. I love this song.
And speaking of segments, the tempo of the song as I'm listening to it, we've spoken about this before as well, is how like in the newer fighting games they have like segments of your power bar, and as you fill up each segment, you can do something else, special.
Right.
It sounds like with her music that as each section gets filled up, like the music changes, and then it's more intense, and then you finally get that third one, and you can unleash your EX ability, and
she's a cool character. She's a cool character. That's a great song, and I'm a big fan of it.
Before we wrap it up, what is or who is your favorite Street Fighter character out of all of them?
Well, I had said earlier that I'm really bad at Street Fighter, so it's Blanca because I can just hide in the corner and just do electric shocks if someone comes near me.
You can just cheese it.
Which I would say he's the cheesiest character of the whole thing. I mean, just even the fact that he's like the only he's kind of like a non-human character. I mean, he is human, but he's a green monster thing. So he's just a cheesy character.
And if you want to know how Blanca was made, watch Street Fighter the movie. They do a great job of explaining it, kids.
Yeah, they do, and they actually do make reference to it in some of the endings for like Marvel vs. Capcom and stuff like that.
Yeah, I thought he was cool.
Really is.
What are your favorite Street Fighter characters? I know Matt's.
Yeah, well, mine is also my go-to guy is also Ken.
Oh, cool! That's a really great speaking point since you both have the same character.
but following very close behind him, is Vega. I've always loved Vega's character.
How close is Vega walking behind Ken?
Well, close enough to be dangerous.
One claw's length.
But no, I've always liked his character. I liked his fighting style. I liked even in all the comics and anime they did. I've always liked his character. Even though he was like this murdering psychopath, I liked his character, and I was really comfortable with him. And normally, I'm not comfortable with using characters that have charge moves. Guile, E Honda, those kind. You have to hold back 2 seconds forward. If you really want to get good at Vega, a lot of his moves are hold moves. But I don't seem to have a problem with his for some reason.
It's the same with me. My second go-to is M. Bison, and he's the same way. Or go from Ken, who has no charge moves, to a character that has all charge moves. Completely different play style, but both are very effective.
From Ken to one of the villains of the franchise. Both your second choices are kind of like not so good dudes.
Yeah. We're not.
Vega's
so good
a
dudes.
wuss overall. So
now remind me. Maybe you guys remember this. Again, going back to the whole idea of rehashes, which Capcom is notorious for, and we love them for it. There were multiple versions of this game released, and also there were many of them released for, like, say, the Super Nintendo and the consoles. But what was the first one that Vega showed up in? Because
Street Fighter 2.
Yeah, but I mean, he didn't show up in the original 2. He showed up as a character you fought, but where could you actually play
as
him?
a playable character?
When could you actually play him for the first time?
I want to say it was Street Fighter Hyper.
Was it Hyper?
I think it was Hyper, just the very next one. Yeah. Because it was like Street Fighter 2, then it was Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition, then it was Championship Hyper.
Yeah.
Then there was the World Champion Edition that introduced T-Hawk.
Well, yeah, right. And that was like Super Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Was that one.
Because the
Super Street Fighter 2 Hyper World Championship in Square.
That's actually totally right.
But get hyped!
But that was because the fighting game people over at Video Game Central, like, hey, you don't have a Native American character.
Yeah, here's T-Hawk.
Here's T-Hawk.
He was awesome, though. T-Hawk was awesome. I don't understand why they didn't just go to Street Fighter 3. Well, like, why do you need to have 45 different versions of Street Fighter 2?
That's what Capcom does.
I know. It's just like, I don't... Although, I guess at this point, they'd be on, like, Street Fighter 75.
Yeah.
And still raking in money, so what does that really matter?
Yeah, true. Are you serious? They added a new edition? Yeah, they added, like, turbo hype to it.
Yeah.
Really? I'm turbo hype. Let's get it.
This is the way Street Fighter was. I can't tell you exactly why. I mean, we just get excited because they had more characters, like we had said before. And, it's funny, like, I talked about
Dan's got a new taunt move.
Yeah.
We got to get this game. What, $60?
They increased movement speed by 3%. Get ready.
Don't move. Let's just do our taunts. I want to see what our taunts are.
He's got
an
extra animation, like a split-second animation. Yeah. I got to see it.
But, I mean, that was cool. I mean, if you look back at the original Street Fighter 2, I mean, 8 characters. That seems so small. Me and my wife we actually have a couple pieces that are going to be up at the BART for the Street Fighter art show. And it was just so funny because we wanted to delve back into the original characters. And to look at that, I mean, obviously Street Fighter was the original one, but Street Fighter 2 is the one that people seem to always remember so well. And just to look at that cast of 8 characters, it's almost like, hello. 8 characters.
Yeah, he's like, who would? That's not enough variety. Well, 8 characters is a decent amount. Like,
Back
but
then it was.
I have 32.
Well, the graphics of Street Fighter was horrible. The original Street Fighter.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
and so when you saw that was like comparing like an Atari to like a Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
You know, so like you're watching it and you're like, what is this? And you see Street Fighter 2, you're like, oh my god.
Plus,
these
any
characters
character
are huge.
choice, any character choice in general was a big step at that point because I mean, like we joked around about Urban Champions before. It was like, oh, I guess you get to play as green-haired dude or green-haired dude. I mean, you don't have a choice. You
He's
just
my
play.
favorite.
Yeah, you don't have. You wouldn't be having the same discussion about favorites on some of these even earlier titles, but with that particular one, you know, it was cool because it was like, hey, you choose which ethnic stereotype you want. Which one do you want?
Yeah,
I want DJ. That's right.
Which one am I least offended by?
the Jamaican kickboxer.
Yeah,
That guy like
nobody ever liked ever.
No,
that's true. He was a very bad character.
No, I didn't like him at all.
No, I mean, anybody. The only characters people use out of that whole Super Street Fighter is either Cammy or oh, hello, Fei Long.
Fei Long, yes, yeah.
Nobody uses T-Hawk or.
We need a Chinese character quick.
I've seen 1 or 2 people with T-Hawk. I guess it wouldn't be as common.
It's the Bruce Lee character.
Yeah.
That's another one that's kind of reoccurring in fighting games. There's a lot of games that like, we gotta have a Bruce Lee character.
Yeah, I mean,
the most obvious is martial law from Tekken.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
martial law.
That's an exact replica of Bruce Lee.
I think
got
they use like
Guy from Final Fight.
I think they use like sound bites, actual sound bites. Yeah, for sure.
Well, good to have 5, man.
Thanks.
I liked it.
Thanks. And I should say to people, anybody who's listening, feel free to call me out on any of those. I don't feel really bad because, again, I suck at Street Fighter, so maybe I suck at picking Street Fighter songs. But I don't think so.
No, the songs were on point, as Matt would say.
Especially Balrog. That's right. On point. Everything's on point.
And I will say this, too. I am notorious. Like, Matt and I have worked on top 5s before, and we've done this type of thing before. And I always kind of like to throw some curveballs. I may have thrown a more curveballs than non-curveballs in this one.
The only one was Super Puzzle Fighter, but it was good. It was it was a nice different mix. It wasn't just like all Street Fighter main game tracks, which is what this is all about. So it's whatever
have fun with it.
Your top 5 favorites are, and that's what.
And I think it's fun because like when you look at what you guys do on a regular basis, you guys have like, okay, someone gives you a theme or you come up with a theme. It's like, oh well, that's kind of hard. We can do it this way. But then when you start to really look at like how broad you can go with some of that stuff, it's really kind of fun. Like we were talking about, we actually been texting back and forth about a future theme these guys are talking about. And when you really start like brainstorming it, you're like, well, you could go this direction, could go this direction. Yeah. The history of video games at this point is so large. And we're lucky to have been there for a good chunk of it.
Absolutely.
Not quite old enough to be there for the very, very beginnings, but I think we were there for the.
I am.
Go home.
Not the very beginnings. You're older than us, but not that much older than us. You're close.
Surprised.
You're close. But
be surprised.
I'm older than I look.
I'm 53.
Wow.
I'll be 40 here in a month.
I was going to say, kudos to you for being 50-30. Holy smokes.
You look good for 53, I must say.
Thank you. That's my diet.
I should also point out that Matt's eyes, eyeballed him up and down when he said that. He's like, you look good for 53.
The body felt it.
Yeah.
So anything else you want to throw at people listening before we sign off here?
Other than that, like I said, Ignition Inc. coming January 30th at the OLE building, or it's actually the OLE building, the Orlando Live Events building, here in Central Florida. And if you have time, check out the Bart's art show for all these Street Fighter, because if you listen, you probably like Street Fighter, and if you don't like Street Fighter, then
we can't be friends.
Why even bother listening, really?
And speaking
I hate Street Fighter, but I need to listen.
And speaking of Ignition Inc., don't forget, we have a contest out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
For 2 tickets.
Yeah. 2 tickets if you can figure out where that Mega Man theme comes from.
Yep.
I want to know
what game and what stage.
But it's 2 tickets, so I want to know, what game and what stage.
The first person. Well, I'll tell you what, not going to do first person. We're going to, whoever gets it right, we're going to put all the names in a pool and draw a person.
Fair enough.
Because, I have people who can listen at 8 in the morning, and other people can't listen until at night. So we'll make it fair. All the people that get it right, we'll put your names in a hat and draw one lucky winner, and then we'll contact you through a private message, and you can pick them up or we can send them out to you. So
let's say the deadline, we will announce on our next podcast who
That'll
the
work.
winners are.
That'll work.
I like it.
I'll get you the tickets tonight.
Very
That'll be
good.
Perfect.
So we normally close with a song, depending on what topic, but we're going to do a different song closing in honor of David Bowie recently passing. We have a chiptune version of Let's Dance. So we want to thank you guys again for listening. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media. That's presented below the episode. And be sure to leave your comments and all that good stuff, whether it be good or bad. I don't care.
And call Brandon out.
Yeah, feel free. No, and if as you guys always say, if I forgot anything, feel free. I mean, I certainly had a lot to work from. So if I forgot something,
we encourage loiterism here. So just call us out on our shenanigans.
I got a thick skin.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna go.
Well, I'm gonna go home right now and play Puzzle Fighter. So
nice.
Good night, everyone,
and
we'll see you next Monday.
You know it.